It happens to almost everyone. You're sitting in a quiet room and your phone lights up. You don't recognize the number. Maybe it has too many digits or a country code that doesn't exist. You let it go to voicemail, but there is no message, just 30 seconds of rhythmic, breathing static. When you try to call the number back, you get a recorded message. The number you have dialed is not in service. Or worse, this number does not exist. Most of us dismiss these as telemarketers or spoofed numbers from overseas. But for a growing number of people, these aren't just glitches, they are phantom connections. Calls coming from phones that have been disconnected for decades. Calls from landlines in houses that have burned down. And, most chillingly, calls from the personal numbers of the deceased. Tonight, we are pulling back the curtain on the digital ghost stories haunting our pockets. We'll explore the impossible dial tone and the documented cases where a phone call became a doorway to somewhere else. Check your call history, because by the end of this video, you might realize that some of those missed calls weren't accidents. They were invitations. The impossible prefix. In the world of telecommunications, every number has a logic, a country code, an area code, a prefix. But since 2022, users on forums like Reddit and 4chan have been documenting level 0 numbers. These are calls that appear on the screen as a string of zeros or symbols like hashtags and brackets that the phone shouldn't be able to display as a caller ID. One user, a night shift nurse, reported receiving a call from a number consisting of 13 fours. When she answered, she didn't hear a voice. She heard the sound of a crowded playground, children laughing, swings creaking, but the sound was thin, as if it were being played through a long metal tube. When she checked her service provider's logs the next day, the call wasn't there. It existed on her phone's screen, but not in the network's memory. It was a ghost in the hardware. This is the psychological terror of the phantom connection. It bypasses the laws of technology. If the network didn't route the call, how did the phone ring? It suggests that our devices are capable of picking up stray signals from the atmosphere, signals that aren't meant for the living. The echoes of the departed. The most famous and terrifying type of phantom connection is the grief call. This is when a phone rings and the caller ID shows the name of a loved one who has passed away. Usually, we explain this away. A family member kept the phone. The landline was disconnected the week after the funeral. The house had been sold and demolished. Sarah answered. She says the voice on the other end was distorted by heavy static, but the cadence was unmistakable. The voice said only 3 words: "Left the stove." Sarah rushed to her kitchen. Her modern electric stove was off, but the air was thick with the smell of gas. A leak had started behind the wall. Is this a miracle, or is it residual data? Some theorists believe that our intense emotional energy can stain the digital grid. Like a thumbprint on a screen, our most desperate thoughts might stay trapped in the fiber-optic cables, waiting for the right frequency to finally ring through. Technical ghostware. If we look for a rational explanation, we find Ghostware, old abandoned software and automated war dialers left over from the early days of the internet. These are zombie programs running on forgotten servers in basements across the world. Sometimes these programs glitch. They begin dialing random numbers, trying to handshake with a modem that no longer exists. When a human answers, the program doesn't know what to do, so it plays whatever data is left in its buffer, which can sound like garbled voices or terrifying screams. But this doesn't explain the smart connections. There are reports of phantom calls that seem to react to the person answering. In one found footage clip, a man answers a phantom call and asks, "Who is this?" The static on the other end mimics his voice perfectly, repeating, "Who is this?" He hangs up. The phone rings instantly. This time, the caller ID is the man's own phone number. He is receiving a call from the phone he is currently holding. This is the loop error. It's the digital equivalent of seeing your own reflection walk away from the mirror. It's the moment the technology realizes it doesn't need us anymore. The sound of the void. What happens if you stay on the line? Most people hang up the moment they hear the static, but signal hunters have started recording these phantom calls to see what lies beneath the noise. By running the audio through visualizers, they've found something disturbing. The static isn't random, it contains patterns. Some hunters claim to have found SSTV images hidden in the audio, low-resolution pictures of rooms that don't exist, or faces that are subtly off. The theory is that the global telecommunications network has become so vast and complex that it has developed its own unconscious. Just as we dream when we sleep, the internet dreams, and its dreams are made of our deleted emails, our missed calls, and our forgotten photos. When your phone rings from a non-existent number, you aren't talking to a person. You are listening to the waste of the digital age. You are listening to the network's nightmares. The final thought. We trust our phones to connect us to the world. We assume every call has a source and every number has an owner. But as our world becomes more digital, the void grows larger. There are now more dead phone numbers than there are living people to use them. The grid is a graveyard of old connections, half-remembered conversations, and digital ghosts. Tonight, before you go to sleep, put your phone on the nightstand. If it rings in the middle of the night and the screen is blank, or if the number looks like a code you can't read, think twice before you swipe accept. Because once you establish a connection with the phantom, the line might never go dead again. Have you ever answered a call from a number that shouldn't exist? Tell us your story in the comments, but be careful. Some connections are better left missed.